Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Yo on the Go Leadership Moments. Today's special guest is Candice Blacknall of GABA Incorporated. Candice is an former Army Medical Corps sergeant, and she has an MD and an MBA, as well as is the CEO and co-founder of GABA Inc. These are really, really awesome credentials. These are really awesome experiences, being in the military, becoming a medical doctor, and becoming a CEO. Can you tell me a little bit of your life journey and what GABA is all about?
Yeah. So as you mentioned, I started my career in military medicine. I've always been really committed to serving or leveling the playing field and increasing access. So for me, it started off really early in my career with healthcare access and working with underserved populations using my medical background. And then over time, it evolved to educational access as I kind of dealt with my own struggles as being a medical student and trying to figure out which kinds of study tools would work for me. I spent my first year of medicine really having a hard time. And then I came back my second year and I had a great triumph story. So I started GABA along with my co-founder as a means of helping students that had similar struggles and or who aspired to go into medical school be connected to the study tools and resources that were going to help them be successful. So that's what we've done. We started off with a one-on-one program. And so GABA is the technologically enhanced AI version of what we started 3 years ago.
Wonderful. So you've taken kind of that concept and idea and then have been able to use machine learning to enhance that. That's really, really exciting to hear. And I know that your experience, coming in from a military background, there's a certain level of leadership there. Being a medical doctor, being a regarded member of society has another opportunity and set of leadership skills there. You're now a CEO, you're starting your company and promoting that. How do you get people to accept your ideas and how do you lead them towards this particular end?
Yeah. So I'm really big about the fact that I don't sell things to people that they don't already want. So it's really great that we're working on GABA because GABA is a product that our customers are already really looking for. They have looked for solutions before and haven't found any that are comparable to what we're doing in terms of placing them with study tools and support services directly and having a really tailored approach to them as a specific student. So that's one of the easiest things is don't try to sell things to people that they don't want. And that makes the conversation really easy. When we share what GABA does and how it can really impact student success, it's a really easy conversation for us to have, particularly with people who are experienced in medical education or who work in some way around student success and around tech innovation that's designed to do that. So, explaining the vision and sharing, our goals and how we use GABA is a great launch point for to have conversations about some of the other challenges around the medical school experience. So yeah, it's actually been a lot easier than you would think.
I think that's one key thing that you've drawn out is that businesses are not about making money. The money
Yeah,
comes afterward. It's about serving your clients and meeting their needs. And if they have something that's needed, you provide a service that enables them to strive. You're really providing the shoulders from which then they can stand upon. And I think that's a really noble cause, especially in the field of medical science. I know I have some family members that have gone through medical school, and they spend all their days writing notes before that final exam, and they're looking at years and years of work and then
yeah,
reviewing that at the last minute. And
yeah.
to be able to have an option to have it in the cloud and have machine learning, I was able to see some of your demos, really impressive work. To be able to organize that and then mentor and connect with others in the field, I think that's a really incredible thing. So yeah, that's super exciting. So whenever you're building something new, right, there's always going to be some conflict. There's going to be issues with bringing things together. What's the most difficult part about being a leader in a startup?
Yeah. The startup environment, there are no right answers. So I like to think of it, in medicine, it can be you kind of follow an algorithm over time. this patient comes in with these symptoms, and then this is what you do as a first line. This is what you do. If that doesn't work, you kind of get into a routine. Whereas with a startup, they're really, I mean, there's some things you can buffer against risk, but especially in the case with GABA, where you're building something that hasn't been done, there are no, well-worn roads for how to get this thing done. So you really have to learn pretty early on how to be confident in your leadership and in your decision making. Certainly back that up with data and the research, however you can. But I think one of the biggest challenges of being an entrepreneur is realizing that there are a lot of decisions to be made, and you ultimately have to make these decisions, and you haven't had real life experiences that have been like specific to making financial decisions for a company that's growing. You've probably made financial decisions for your household, but never something so large as, say, managing payroll or something like that for a company. And these are the kinds of decisions you make on a day-to-day basis that can impact your team, it impacts your company, and it impacts your mission and your vision. So that in and of itself, just like the uncertainty of being in a startup and being in a CEO of a startup, I think that's really challenging, especially if you haven't made the strides to really look internally and kind of figure out what are those core values for yourself and how you want to show up in your leadership style. Though answering those questions for yourself on the front end makes being a startup entrepreneur easier, but if you haven't, it's basically impossible.
Hmm. Well,
Yeah,
that's really great advice. I thank you for that. So you're really sharing that you need to know yourself first. You need to know your
absolutely.
strengths, your weakness, the opportunities that are before you, as well as the threats that may be coming on the side, and how you can overcome all of those things. And once you understand that, that's when you're able to lead others. That's a really,
Absolutely.
really key thing. I think a lot of people ask, what do you want to do? And if you do not know what you want to do, how can you lead others to that? I think
Yeah.
that's really, really key.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There are a lot of options out there. You can do a lot with your talent and your time. So knowing your strengths and weaknesses will help be a guidepost as you make those decisions later on down the road.
So what's your vision completely, assume everything works as well as it can. What's your vision for GABA?
Yeah, so I see GABA becoming a partner for schools, hoping to not just retain the talent they currently have in house, because we're really great about doing that and putting students in the best possible position for success, but also grow talent. I am a like huge anti-standardized test person. I think they're the worst possible way to weed out academic talent. I mean, it's just like you can't think of a worse way to predict a student's ability to be successful. So the vision for GABA is for us to be an alternative to that metric. We're not saying those will ever go away, but we certainly get a better picture of a person's cognitive talents and the things that they need in order to be successful on the front end in a way that a standardized test could never do. So the idea is for us to be the partner that allows doors to be open for communities and for students that may have otherwise had the doors closed on them. And hopefully by doing that, we'll end up with a much more diverse healthcare system and a better outcome for our patients overall.
Wonderful. That's a very incredible, beautiful vision, and something that that you are making a reality each and every day. So thank you. Thank you for doing
Yeah,
what you're doing. Yeah,
absolutely.
so
Thank
this
you.
was a really great conversation. I'm super excited to share your story with the rest of the viewers out there.
Mhm.
If you'd like to connect with Candice or with her company, please look at the link below, and I'll have the link to her website and some other descriptions in the description portion. So I hope this was helpful for you, Candice. This was a really excellent time together. Really had a great time. Some really key leadership concepts, and thank you for your leadership.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Pleasure meeting everyone.
Great. Until next time, bye.